Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into something really crucial for long-term health, but honestly something many of us put off: cholesterol testing.
That's right.
Our mission here is pretty straightforward. Understand how finding out early is such a massive boost for your heart health. And also why local access, having facilities nearby like they're highlighting in Croydon, is so key.
Exactly. And our guide for this is some really practical material from Blood Test UK.
Oh.
What they really stress is that high cholesterol, well, it's often called a silent problem. You don't feel symptoms. So routine testing, it's basically your only early warning sign for serious issues like heart disease or stroke.
That's the really unnerving part, isn't it? Waiting for a symptom means you're already behind the curve. So let's really unpack the big benefit. What does finding high cholesterol early actually do for you?
It fundamentally buys you control and time. The guide makes it clear. Early detection seriously cuts your risk of major heart problems, sometimes by a huge margin, like 50% or more.
Well, 50%.
Yeah. Knowing your numbers early means you can act immediately, often just with things like diet changes, more exercise, maybe before medication's even on the table. It's about getting ahead of the game. Gives you peace of mind, too.
Right, that proactive edge. Okay, so we hear about total cholesterol, but it's more complicated than just one number.
Yeah.
Let's break down the good and bad cholesterol simply. Explain it like you would to someone who hasn't thought about this in school.
Absolutely. So think of your total score as just the overall picture. We need to look closer. You've got LDL, that's low-density lipoprotein.
Right.
That's often called the bad cholesterol. Think of it like delivery trucks taking cholesterol to your body's tissues. Too many trucks or too much cargo.
Yeah.
And it starts leaving deposits, plaque inside your arteries. That's the clogging we worry about.
The bad stuff clogging the pipes. Got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then you have HDL, high-density lipoprotein. That's the good one. These are like the garbage trucks. They actually go around, pick up excess cholesterol, even some of that plaque, and haul it back to your liver to be dealt with. So, simply put, you want fewer delivery trucks, low LDL, and more garbage trucks, high HDL, to keep things flowing smoothly.
Low bad, high good. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pivot to the practical side. Getting the test itself. There's this rule about fasting, usually 9 to 12 hours, just water allowed. Why is that so important? Seems like a bit of a hassle.
It does seem like a hassle, but there's a solid scientific reason. While having a meal won't drastically shift your LDL or HDL right away, it absolutely sends your triglyceride levels soaring temporarily.
Triglycerides. Another fat.
Yep, another type of fat in your blood. And because they shoot up after eating, if you didn't fast, that part of the test would be skewed, making it hard to get a clear picture of your overall risk. That 9 or 12-hour fast just ensures we're seeing your true baseline.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, this is interesting. The guy really emphasizes location. It specifically mentions places like Croydon as having a good setup. Why does where you live, the proximity of your GP or clinic, matter so much for managing cholesterol?
That's a great question. And the guide argues, pretty convincingly, I think, that testing is only half the battle. It's useless without proper follow-up and support.
Ah, right.
Having good local access to your GP surgery, maybe a clinic nearby, makes regular checks much easier to stick with. But more than that, it means help is right there when you get the results.
What kind of help?
Well, the source points to pilot programs like the model in Croydon, where they see much better results, like compliance with lifestyle changes jumping by almost 40% when the blood test results are immediately linked to local resources. Think nutritionists, community exercise groups, maybe even specialized pharmacists. It's about having that support network readily available.
40%, just from having local support, that's huge. That really highlights how infrastructure plays a role, not just the information itself.
Precisely. It connects the dots between knowing your numbers and actually doing something effectively about them.
So, speaking of regular checks, what's the general advice? How often should adults be thinking about this?
Generally, the advice is a check every 5 years, usually starting around age 40. But, and this is important, if you have other risk factors, things like obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, or, family history of heart issues, you really need to talk to your local GP. They might recommend much more frequent testing, maybe even yearly.
Right. Personalized advice is key there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's bring this all together for the listener. What's the bottom line? What should you take away from this deep dive today?
The main thing is that knowing your cholesterol numbers is incredibly empowering. That simple test is the trigger. It guides you toward making really meaningful lifestyle changes. We're talking about adopting a proper heart-healthy diet, cutting down those saturated and trans fats, boosting things like omega-3s and fiber.
And exercise too, presumably.
Oh, absolutely. Aiming for at least 150 minutes of moderate activity like brisk walking, cycling each week, it all works together.
Okay, and that leads us perfectly to our final thought, something for you to really consider. The journey starts with that test. Experts emphasize follow-up. So if you get tested, find out your numbers, and then really commit to those positive changes, diet, exercise, the question is, how much improvement could you realistically see in your LDL and HDL scores in just, say, 3 to 6 months? It could be significant. Go find out. Take that step and start writing your own healthier future.